Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Timothy, and on this channel we speak everything personal finance. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about something that's on everybody's mind all the time, every year. Well, not every year, but a lot of times when things are going bad, people are thinking about recessions and what they're going to do if or when it happens. And now that I am 27, I am forced to know everything that is going on around me. With high interest rates and high inflation, the economy has been under a lot of pressure. And if you're feeling anxious about what's ahead, recessions happen in cycles. These are things that come and go. Now, while we can't control when a recession happens, we can prepare for them. And that's what I'm going to be telling you today. I'm going to be giving you 9 steps, 9 things that you can do to prepare for a potential recession. So the first thing that you want to do to prepare for a recession is to take a detailed look at your finances. Now, we want to bulletproof your finances so that a recession won't shake it. So that's why we have to take a deep dive, a deep look at your finances. We need to know your income, your savings, expenses. So just be sure to budget so you can know where all your money is going. And one of the most common disruptions in a recession is job loss. So if you lost your job tomorrow, do you know how much cash is in your account? Know how much your expenses are? Do you know how much money you need to live off a month? Do you have an emergency fund set aside? These are things that we need to know and that we need to look at in order to prepare for a recession. And we need to make plans for if a job loss did happen. So take a few minutes to track your income, list your recurring bills, and categorize your spending. Just by knowing where your money is going will help you decide on what needs to be cut from your expenses. And trust me, finding those forgotten $10 to $15 subscriptions will help a lot. So just be sure to take a deep dive into your finances. And the second thing that you need to do to prepare for a recession is to build an emergency fund. Now, with a recession, you don't really know how long it's going to last. It's typical to have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months or 12 months. If you really feel a recession is coming, if you feel like your job's going to have layoffs, you might want to have 6 to 9 months for an emergency fund. Now, I know that 6 to 9 months for an emergency fund might sound crazy. Now, don't get discouraged by thinking how high this number could be, because it could be around $15,000 to $20,000 for a 6-month emergency fund, depending on your monthly expenses. But just start slow and consistently save something. Whether you're saving $50 a month to $100 to $500 a month, just save something towards your emergency fund. And before you know it, you have a fully funded emergency fund, or at least half of that number. And the third thing that you want to do to prepare for a recession is to create a budget. Now, a budget that I like to go by is the 50-30-20 rule, which states 50% of your money goes to your needs, 30% goes to wants, and 20% goes to saving. But here's the thing, during tough economic times, you want a lot of your money to go to necessities. So you just might have to cut out the 30% that goes to wants, especially if your job could be on the line. You just don't want to waste money on things that aren't necessities. And you can start small by reducing the number of times you're eating out. So say maybe you eat out 3 times a week, you might want to try to reduce it to 2 times a week. And then the next week or the next month, you can move to 1 time a week. And before you know it, when a recession happens, you'll be able to not go to eat out because you're not used to it anymore, because you're only going to eat maybe 1 time a week. You also want to hold off on big vacations. You want to hold off on big purchases, especially if you feel a recession is coming. If everyone's saying it, if you're really looking at the economy and you think the recession is coming, you just want to have extra cash and you don't want to put money towards vacations or big expenses like cars or a house. Just stay where you are and save up your cash into your emergency fund. But also you need to build a budget so you can get your spending under control. And the fourth thing that you want to do to prepare for a recession is to keep your emergency fund accessible. So I'm talking about putting your money into a high yield savings account. And we don't want to put it into CDs or anything that's going to lock your money up for 3, 6 to 12 months. We want to have this money liquid. We don't want to put it into a brokerage account and invest into the markets. We want this money to be liquid, and we want to put it into something like a high yield savings account. The fifth thing that you should be doing when you're preparing for a recession is to pay down high interest debt. Stay away from credit card debt, because the money that you're actually making in the markets, the money that you're making on your high yield savings account, is not even close to the amount of money that you're being charged from these credit card companies at 30% interest rates. So if you have credit card debt, try to pay it down as quickly as possible. And some things that you can consider is a balance transfer to maybe a 0% APR card. That's going to be 0% for 12 months to 18 months. And then you want to schedule how many payments need to go to that card so you can pay it off by the time that the interest will occur on that card. So this can really help you eliminate high interest debt, because the interest will not be adding to the amount that you already owe because it's on a 0% APR card. For example, if you had a $2,000 credit card balance and say the minimum payment is $50, it would take you 7 years to pay off that credit card by just paying the minimum amount of money towards that credit card. And the sixth thing that you want to do when preparing for a recession is to assess your other debts. Now I'm talking about mortgages, student loans, any low interest debt. You don't want to rush to pay these debts off. Anything around 4 to 5, or even their 7% interest rate that you have on your home, you just want to kind of gather all these debts together, see how much you owe. You don't want to hurry up and rush to pay these debts off. You want majority of the money to go to your emergency fund, especially if you have not funded it. You just don't want to be in a situation where you use all this cash to pay down a low interest debt, but you don't have anything saved for when emergency hits. And the seventh thing that you should be doing to prepare for a recession is to stay calm with your investments. Now it's natural to react when the market drops during a recession, but you have to realize that we are in this for the long run. We are investing for 30, 20, 15 years. This is a long time that we're putting money aside for our investments, that we're investing to the S&P 500, we're investing to individual stocks. In general, the S&P 500 particularly rises. So it might have dips for a year, or it might have dips for a few months, or might be down this year. But trust me, it's going to be up within the next years to follow. Try not to overreact when you see the markets dip because of a recession. Just continue to invest into the markets. Just continue to contribute money to the markets. And the eighth thing that you should be doing when preparing for a recession is to focus on your career. So you want to know what's going on in your sector. Are people getting laid off? Is your company making cuts? You want to know this information. You want to ask questions. Go ask your supervisor, what is the outlook of this company? Should you start looking for a new job? Maybe. You might need to start updating your resume. And you just really want to keep networking and keep in contact with people, because you never know when that person may have a job prepared for you. And just keep learning, keep improving your skills, because the more valuable you are to your job, the more likely they are to keep you. And finally, don't panic if or when a recession comes. It's going to happen. A recession is going to happen. We went through one in 2008. It's something that happens. It's something that has to happen. The market has to reset. Things can't always rise. Things are going to drop for a certain amount of time. But if you follow these steps that I have listed in here, especially having an emergency fund, and if you think you're going to go through a recession, at least get a year worth for an emergency fund, and that will hopefully keep you at ease. And really the key here is to stay proactive and not reactive. You want to get ahead of all these things. So by following these 9 steps, you will be more prepared than ever for if and when a recession comes. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.